Today, on This American Dice presents Ryoko Owari, City of Lies, Episode 50. The conspiracies that hope to strangle this city seem to wrap themselves tighter and tighter around not just the Emerald Magistrates, but the very fate of Rokugan itself. The populace erupts in another episode of violence. Can the Emerald Magistrates deal with the fallout? And what have they lost as a result of it? Find out today on This American Dice.
This isn't a common thing, but I think you freak them the fuck out with this description, and these dudes, like, all of you look kind of rough. I think some of these deputies are, like, splattered in blood. Ishi is covered in all kinds of goop. You guys are covered in dirt. And so, like, you guys look all really rough, and there's not just a couple, there's more of these dudes than even we have nooses for ready to go. And people are like, but just part of? What do you mean? What is he talking about? Only some of? So there's more out there? Like, but where's that demon? Is there another demon?
Oh, good points. All according to plan.
No further questions.
So I think that we pull out of this shot, like the camera zooms out of the shot as the crowd is getting really, really restless, and we see that this devolves into a riot. And just these people get so frightened. It's a combination of people, some people trying to run away, and people being like trampled, and other people rushing towards these folks to attack them. And so it's like, it's bedlam breaks loose.
A large city surrounded by green walls and acres of poppy fields. A group of monks traveled toward the city, exchanging prayers for whatever alms the poor peasants of the countryside can spare. In the noble quarter, we see a beautiful but imposing palace and a foreign-looking minareted estate. In the temple quarter, we see the glistening white temple of the sun goddess with a 60-foot pole topped by a shimmering golden spear, and the temple of the fortune of wealth with its towering statue of the patriot god of the city. Next door, in the merchant quarter, we see busy streets with noisy merchants selling wares from all over Rokugan and beyond. On the other side of the Bay of Drowned Honor, the fisherman's quarter, dirtier with poorer commoners, meaner gangs, and shabby dwellings amid the docks and warehouses. We pass the leather workers' quarter, the home of the Hida, the Untouchables, and the only building of notice there, the city crematorium. Finally, we arrive at Teardrop Island, the license quarter, with its perpetual twilight of hanging lanterns, fine sake and geisha houses. We follow a man in a basket hat as he's beckoned inside by a beautiful geisha. He enters and removes his hat. We see one of the monks from the beginning. Ryoko Owari, City of Lies.
Taiyo arrives at Kitsuki Jotomen's dojo, and it doesn't look too different than you had seen it before.
No ruckus.
When you came in, there's two big differences. When you came in before, you and Ample came in, and you remember that a butler had been murdered at the door.
Right.
As you come up, first off, there's a crowd that has gathered, and the Thunder Guard are kind of keeping them away. And you can see in that doorway, yeah, that butler's still there in that doorway, and he is just as dead as you had seen before. The difference is, when you get up, the Thunder Guard recognize you immediately and let you into the place. There is a slew of dead people in masks with knives. They've been cut with katanas. There's blood all over this place. And in the center of it is Kitsuki Jotomen's body. Her clothes are like cut up. She's covered in blood, and of course she has that, like, you see her like neck is.
Her head's on backwards.
Is it?
Well, that's what happened.
Ooh, no, it's when you look at it. Oh no, her head's been severed, and it's like across the room from her body. And it's been severed not in like the clean stroke of a. Is it? No, it's her head's been severed. It's across the room.
And the Thunder Guard are still like around.
The Thunder Guard are like outside. Some of them can come inside if you need them to, but yeah, they're kind of keeping the crowd at bay.
Yeah, maybe at least one comes with me.
Mm-hmm. The odds are Yogo Osaka would show up, but she's busy dealing with these guys.
Were there any witnesses?
People heard that there was a big commotion last night. Someone was yelling and screaming. They said there were several people here that they heard, but then everything went quiet. When folks came by in the morning, this is what they saw.
Did anyone survive from the dojo?
And they're like, I mean, at night, most of these people aren't there. The butler was killed. Or he points to the guy and he goes, "Looks like the butler was killed." Basically, but her students wouldn't be here at night.
And you said there was a bunch of
Oh, in fact, I think her students are the ones who showed up and found this. And Shrimp is there. Joe Pesci. Yeah. 1990s Joe Pesci.
Here we go, that squared away.
Yeah. So he's the one who found this stuff and basically reported it.
There's a bunch of ninja people, basically.
That's why I remember.
Yeah, there's people in masks, and there are knives and various other weapons thrown away. No, knives
No, the scorpion, the mask scorpion clown.
Right? No, not like that.
Like ninja masks.
Like ninja masks.
Sure. Were any of these people identified? The people in masks.
And I think you'll say the Edda are on their way. We sent for them a while ago. Something's taken them a while.
Maybe right.
The stuff these other guys are doing.
Yeah.
Sorry. Audio medium.
Does anything look out of the ordinary? Is there any clues?
Sounds like you're reading a situation.
Sure.
All right.
I don't know what I would ask. Hopefully I get a 12.
What's the deal with this here? 6 plus
3 is 9.
9. Laura Durnan.
Do I get a +1 for my last one?
Is this the same? Does it have to be in the same scene?
It's just based off the answer. If you do something based off the answer.
It doesn't say. Whenever you act on one of the MC's answers.
Yeah.
Your answer was someone tricked them or something into believing that.
Sure. This can work.
Cool.
For the purpose of moving things ahead a little bit.
That just moves it to a 10 then. Oh man, I feel I know all these. Well, sure. What's the enemy's true position?
Ooh, that's a tough one for me to answer.
Gotcha.
Sorry. Yeah. You're definitely dealing with a conspiracy. You're definitely dealing with a conspiracy, and you can figure out that this is a conspiracy that has significant resources, and you put together the fact that apparently they were either able to somehow replace you or trick everyone into thinking that you had been there, and then set this up, which very much gets rid of how Joe Toman ended up dead. The cheap answer I'm going to give you is all around you. If you think about it to yourself, here's how I'll try to make it up to you with that.
Sure.
If you think about it to yourself, you're that might be the only group capable of, whatever this conspiracy is, might be the only group capable of also engineering all these attacks on all the different cartels at once.
The going theory, at least, is that that's just unicorn stuff, right?
So what I'm saying is this might be tied in with them.
Gotcha.
If that's who you think did this conspiracy that you're looking at right now might be tied in with the unicorn.
All right. In that case, who's in control here? You ready for easy answers?
Yeah. Again, that conspiracy, it's...
There's Joseph.
Yeah, it's... You you remember Yugure had brought up that Soshi Sarioka was being forced to do some of this stuff? You realize this conspiracy is forcing her into this. And the person you were speaking to in the basket hat is the head of that conspiracy so far as you can tell.
The woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, that woman in the basket hat, right, is the head of that conspiracy. So that might change up some stuff about,
It's a
Baronato.
much better answer. All I gotta do is you gotta dig deep inside and find those good answers. Bring them out for us.
I want to give you something for sure, because you get the answer, but I don't want to just, like, say this thing, because narratively it almost doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
But-
Okay. I mean, I kind of asked what I was going to look out before, so I'm not going to do that because I feel it's kind of sick. So, how about which enemy is most vulnerable?
Which enemy is most vulnerable?
Let me the situation questions are not
Already
investigating
dead.
situations. They're really small.
I'm going to answer this a few ways to try to make up for some of the other stuff.
Sure.
It depends on who your enemy is. So I'll tell you how various possible enemies could be vulnerable to you.
Mm-hmm.
You guys seem like you don't necessarily have the people willing to testify on this, but you've got a lot of reasons to think Ide Baronato has been organizing this attack on the cartels.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you were to present that to the cartels, they would certainly figure out a way to possibly deal with Ide Baronato.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide that the governor is still your enemy in this, I don't know if that's still on your radar or still on your possible list of enemies. Yes,
Go
no.
on.
I refuse to answer, but continue.
You might be able to convince Saigo to go after her, or you might be able to get Ishi possibly to convince Baronato to push just after her. Yeah. As for this conspiracy, I feel like this is the one that you're having a hard time with, because it's like, with the exception of the part about Baronato, this seems so weird that you're not sure what's going on with it. So that one doesn't seem super vulnerable to you. It seems like that's there's another step to that.
Okay.
I think that answered those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, Shrimp is outside and he's kind of not distraught, crying, but he's pretty annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And he this place, like I said, is a mess. There's blood all over the walls. It's a bloodbath in here.
And he's not a Ronin, right?
He works. He's part of the Mantis clan, but
but not a Ronin.
no, he's not a Ronin. So yeah, he would be considered as part of the Mantis clan, as a regular samurai within the Mantis clan. He's thought of probably as a little bit lesser than a regular samurai in a great clan,
Right.
but he's not. Yeah, he's not a Ronin.
And they're the best minor clan, basically. Or the richest or something.
They in the Fox clan.
So who's taking over this dojo then? I'll ask him.
He's like, I don't know. Whoever's in her family.
All right.
I think, right?
Well, thanks for reporting this so fast to the guards.
And he's like, ooh, and he'll tell you about the ninja.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll tell you, he's been hearing, I've been hearing that these guys have been running wild all over the place. The firemen the firemen have been so busy fighting with one another. There's all these stories that people have been telling. All these stories people have been telling me about the ninja summoning monsters, sneaking into windows, popping out of shadows, and they show up here, they kill her.
And did you find it exactly how it was in there? You didn't disturb anything, did you?
And he's like, not much I could do when I came in.
Well, it seems like she's handled it. Taiyo lies.
Mm-hmm.
He's not hiding anything, right?
Ooh. You can certainly read him, but...
Sure.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. Alright, you got an 8 plus...
You got 11.
11.
So close. I don't think I can justify any of these things I just read. The conspiracies all around me.
Mm-hmm.
Does that apply to this?
Oh, God. Some shit, baby.
You said I don't think it can apply to me.
Yeah, I don't know if that one applies.
That's fine.
That sounds like
Yeah, still good. My first question is he hiding, or what is he hiding?
Ooh, what is he hiding?
Yep. My first question's anything.
He's been...
It's just, it feels really similar to those. I just had to make sure it wasn't. I couldn't remember.
The short answer is nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, the quick answer that's boring is he isn't really hiding anything. I'll just tell you like a little about him. Like he had been like a very kind of like he almost lived more like a Ronin, where it's like, yeah, I'm part of the Mantis clan, but he just did his own thing. Like he'd gotten in trouble with the law significantly. The thing that he's hiding, which isn't probably a ton of significance to Taiyo, is he's legitimately very upset that Jotomen died. Mm-hmm. He viewed Jotomen as like a mentor of his. Mm-hmm. And like a sensei, not just in the like, oh, she is teaching me more about fighting, but like as like a role model. And so like this to him is very upsetting.
So he's like showing more emotion than would be proper.
Yeah, you can probably figure that out. And he's kind of resorting back to this like Joe Pesci tough guy kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But you can see that he's not just acting that way because he's always a dick. Mm-hmm. He kind of is to a certain degree, but this is coming off as like, oh, okay, you're trying to almost act nonchalant with this. Where like, yeah, I care, but not that much. It's not that big a deal to me. Mm-hmm. Something's in my eye, kind of a thing. Yeah, so he's like legitimately bothered by the fact that this happened, and he is pretty darn concerned about the ninja.
What does he intend to do?
He's going to look into this stuff in regard to the ninja for sure. But because he basically just thinks like, well, nobody else is. Ooh, yeah, and you kind of get that like attitude-y kind of thing of his, like, well, nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. Kind of like telling you like, you're not even going to do anything. Mm-hmm. And again, that further just tells you like how upset he is about this.
How can I get him to just report anything he finds to us, or to me in particular, I guess?
Ooh. I think to let him run, give him this dojo.
Mm. Sure.
And I think it's a thing that you could tell it means a lot to him. He's not asking for it, but you as a scorpion and as a courtier can figure out this is a thing that this guy could be connected with, that like, oh, you can carry on this legacy.
That's sort of what I was getting at before. That would help. Yeah, I feel I've hogged this scene a lot, but I'll just, in summary, just like, then I think you should take you should take over for her. It seems obvious that, she meant a lot to you, and she's one of the most honorable people that I met. In the back of my head, but did I meet her? Who knows? So it seems like you would be good to take on her legacy, especially if you're concerned about what happened.
Okay.
And I'll do that. And if you do find anything, please let us know, because it's something very important to the magistrates.
Yugure. Yugure arrives back at the magistrate residence with his son and his daughter. Mm-hmm. And when you come out, the servants kind of see you, and then quickly Mizuki runs out and hugs the kids and hugs you, kind of very much again being very emotional out kind of in the front of the house, which is not a thing that goes on a ton.
Yugure doesn't even notice or care that that's
makes sense.
Indecent.
She's like, she'll tell you that she was so worried. She'll tell you that she was very, very scared. She'll be like, when Taiyo told me about what had happened, I feared the worst. I didn't sleep at all last night. I'm so glad you're back.
Are you okay? Did Taiyo find you?
And she's like, yes, I felt so. And she'll basically explain, once you get the kids, I think it's the kind of thing of you guys feed these children and then put them to bed, even though it's the middle of the day.
Yeah.
You do that kind of thing. All right, kids, rest. And then she'll speak to you, not in front of them, but she'll be like,
I can sleep now.
yeah, exactly. Don't worry, kiddos, it's 11:30. But yeah, and she'll basically say I was so afraid. I left to go purchase supplies for our trip back home. And then your friend told me that our children were gone. You don't know how much that scares me. I can't even leave them out of my sight for a minute in this city. I don't know if the fortunes were punishing me for leaving them alone, or if they were telling me that we need to leave, that we can't be here.
You're right. It's very dangerous here. And I wonder if I can keep you safe sometimes. And last night, it became clear that perhaps I cannot. Maybe no one can. It's something we cleaned up a lot of the mess that was going on, but that doesn't mean it's over. Even if we're coming close, I don't know how much worse it could get before it gets better. If you would feel safer with the children back at home, it might be for the best.
And she'll say, we can't leave. We can't leave here without you. If the fortunes were punishing me for abandoning my children, I can't imagine they'll do. I can't imagine that they'll treat us any better for abandoning one another. You came down here without us. I understand that was your duty. But you have a duty to this family. And we need to, if we're going to leave, we need to leave as a family. I have these supplies. I can speak with basically Shosuro Go by to work out details. with your station, it'll be a difficult trip, but we can quicker than almost anybody else, arrive back home.
Misaki, I cannot abandon my duty. I don't know why this role was put upon me, but I have to follow through the best I can. If we stay together, we can do so stronger. We can take this on together. We can face the challenges. We're so close to something, and if we finish, maybe then I can request relief and to be returned home, but I cannot abandon it, especially not now.
So my initial instinct is to have you make a manipulate roll, to manipulate her into going along with this. But I feel like had you do that about this exact thing before,
almost
have things changed up enough where that role would be relevant again? Or is it still the same thing? Like you really told her, I can't leave, but you can leave if need be.
We've been through some tumult recently. With me dying, like her leaving and me dying and then her coming back. It feels like the same thing again. Things have changed kind of back and forth, but yeah, it feels pretty familiar.
Yeah, this does feel like we'd just be making the same role that you already made before. So I think she doesn't know what to do in this situation, and she doesn't think. Yeah, at this point, she doesn't think she can leave here without you. But she's saying that you guys cannot stay. And so rather than have you make that role, I could just have her tell you what she wants you to do.
Yeah,
and
that
see if
makes
you'd
sense.
be willing to do that thing. And so she just says, like contact. She'll say, can't you contact the Emerald Champion? Can't you ask to be moved back to our homelands? Can't you ask to be moved somewhere out of here, somewhere safe?
I feel like I kind of just said I was gonna do that after we did this thing. So basically, she's saying, "No, do it now."
Yeah, she wants you to like try to contact this person now. So that's what she wants. She wants you to send off that letter. I mean, you know, it would take a while for that message to arrive somewhere.
Right.
Especially in dragon places, right?
It would be to like the Emerald Champion, so it's a schlep.
But
I think if Yugure didn't feel so like he always wants to tell the truth, and it would feel deceitful to tell her, like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, but really, I don't intend to do it until I finish my job. Like, he has to be honest with her and say, like, okay, like, I will write the letter, I will send it, but I have to fulfill my duty before I can actually accept a dismissal, of that kind. She said to write the letter and send it. I will do that, but I have to also tell her I have to fulfill my duty as well.
Maybe she just looks really upset or something. It's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to convince him.
I think we got to go back to Aji and Ishi and the riot that's going on in the streets. Yeah. So you guys, like I said, there are people who are trying to just get away because they're so scared. Whenever somebody keeps talking about like Oni, there are people who are like, "There's an Oni!" Like that sweeps up, and the equivalent of like someone has yelled fire, or like you're in a crowded thing and someone says he's got a gun, and then people freak out. Kind of a deal like that has started to happen. So there are some people who are running. Like they're trying to get away, but this is such a crowded intersection with areas where you can go all the hell over that there are people like getting pushed over and trampled. There are other folks who are almost like attacking these prisoners who were going to be executed, but they're like attacking them most likely by like throwing things at them, and so there's a chance that like you guys or the deputies are being pelted with all kinds of like items and refuse.
Some are already hanging, right?
I think that this was like as that process was like about to occur. So we can move out of this scene, but it all depends on what are your goals.
In terms of life or
Ensure the
overall?
prisoners don't get away.
Right.
Priority list
Yeah. What is Aji's chief priority?
to not get harmed.
To not get harmed. Okay. So
Right, number one.
easy. So yeah, for you, you can get out of there. That could be the thing that you're going for. We can get to that nice and simply.
Yeah, it's not my job. It's Yoko Osaka's job.
This is Yoko Osaka's job.
Not my jurisdiction. I'm out.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yep.
Yes, it's kind of true.
Oh.
She's taken care of it before.
We said we'd handle the hanging of the prisoners.
We took hanging prisoners, but it is kind of our job to deal with the public freaking the fuck out. It is kind of our job. Last time we like paid you to go inside. I don't remember what we did, but we like.
When was it?
It was
In the very beginning of the
tax riots?
The tax riots.
Tax riots.
I think the governor basically just paid people off. What's Ishi's? So Aji's goal is get out of here. Aji's goal is not to be harmed. What's Ishi's goal?
You just run away.
I said, fucking fix this situation. It's my goal.
What is that?
Well, shit show stop. I'll make the rat stop, I guess. At least calm it down a little bit so the Thundergrid can take over.
Can we get a scale of how many of these plebs versus us?
Well, okay.
Okay.
I think you're on a different path than I is, sir. I'm going to start cutting people down.
So I think we're almost on. I think we might actually be making the same roll. So I think either way that this is a defy danger. Well, we'll see about that. So for Aji, this is definitely a defy danger. You're trying to get out of this place, or at least keep yourself from the harm. You're defying the danger of the harm of being harmed. So that's nice and easy. For Ishi, it could be different depending on what he plans to do.
Oh, the threat of the riots spreading or something?
Yeah, that was my initial thought where I'm like, we'll just be making the same roll, so we could make a defy danger roll as well of this getting worse. Of this continuing or getting worse, I'd say.
No, I get what you're saying.
So we could have you do that, but if you have some other idea, that's probably the best, the most direct one though.
Yeah, no, we'll just do that.
Okay, let's go for it, Aji. Aji got a 11, pretty damn good. Meanwhile, Ishi got a 8.
Yeah.
8. Okay. So Aji is not going to be hurt in this situation. Does Aji just go home? He just goes to a bar.
He's like, it's just a bar.
You are not going to be hurt. Just where do you leave? Do you just stay there and manage to not be hurt?
No, I head towards to the Thunder Guard headquarters.
Okay. The Dragon Gate? Sure. Or the Dragon Tower?
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Sure, absolutely. So Aji heads to the Dragon Tower. Meanwhile, Ishi is trying to dealing with this crowd of people. Ooh. So
I'm probably just shouting from the folder because I'm not very a little fucked up still.
yeah, you're in pretty bad shape.
Pretty bad shit already.
Okay.
We're
Best trap I've ever laid.
Got white stripes in your hair now.
Yeah, he's trying to fucking straight kill me. I straight kill me. Made me fucking use my demon powers to get us out of the fucking hellhole.
You can't place motive on me.
Shit, though. Just saying, though. It's been not very good. Like, 3 things he's done have just been like, oh, Ishi hates this. I hate this. This is the worst. Alright. That's what we had to deal with. Okay.
I do love that. The last scene was he was like fireman rescuing him from this cave in, and he's like, okay, I gotta go now. You can handle this, dude.
Yeah.
Well, no, we both have the same idea to control the riot.
No.
Yep.
What's your... No.
Yeah.
You fucking bounced and didn't even go like gay or I was talking about like, yo, dog, you gotta take
I have to get the other
The
dude.
tower.
All right. So I wrote down.
We're already dead by then.
I wrote down 3 options.
Yeah.
I think you only have to pick one of these.
Okay.
Pick the one, and then we'll resolve the scene, and then tell everybody what the other ones were. So you only have to pick one. Okay, so he's going to get seriously injured. How does that happen? Because you're able to get this crowd to essentially like either disperse or cool it down enough where then the Thunder Guard can get these people out of here. But in this process, Kuni Renyu gets severely injured. How do both of those things pan out? And if you guys want to throw in ideas here, feel free.
I want to say it's because Kuni like went in to the crowd to kind of be like, hey, yo, chill, fuck out, people. He like tried to do some kind of crowd control thing. And
does that seem like a thing he would do?
I don't know. Honestly,
I haven't built out his character enough to make that decision. But do you guys think that he would do that?
My thought was somehow he and the Thunder Guard cross paths in a bad way. Yeah, I heard that.
Well, maybe
That's kind of my thought.
Oh, okay.
Was like he went in to do something and then he and the Thunder Guard got away.
Well, people start crowding around like the prisoners, and he's like, no.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely wouldn't want that shit to go.
Okay.
His last thing he wants is the
He
prisoner
doesn't
to
want
get
the
free.
prisoners getting mixed up with the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, if he pulls his sword, maybe in the like in the chaos, these Thunder Guards like,
Yep.
it's a samurai going crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. Some shit like that.
I got that, yeah. Well, he lives in like isolation, so he actually hates crowds. He actually hates people in general.
Yeah.
And so when all these people just storm in, he gets like anxiety. He starts having like
freaks out.
Yeah, he starts like freaking out.
Okay, so as these folks crowd near these prisoners, he's worried about them getting out, and the premise of this crowd pushing in around this man who generally hangs out in the wilderness on his own or like in these small villages. He goes to violence very, very quickly, and the Thunder Guard who.
There's a fucking riot.
Right, yeah, to them there's a riot, and
Get the guy with the sword first.
yeah, like how is he hurt? Because like I said, he's like very severely hurt.
I don't know.
Like we should be in a situation where he may not live.
Jesus.
Take his sword hand off.
His sword hand's gone.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That's a way to disarm someone.
Oh, and long ago, Yoko Asako had specifically mentioned that she wants this guy out of here.
Oh, that's what happens.
Okay, there's a fight between him and I think some of these Thunder Guard.
Some of the like samurai squad.
And Yoko Asako comes in, and we see her periodically carrying this like naginata that like looks pretty impressive. And she just whacks off his right arm, and there's just blood sprays everywhere, and this guy like turns ghostly pale as he like falls down and is
Put it with the
bleeding in the street. Yeah, that's right. He also got a messed up eye.
Wherever the other eye is, just put this.
Yeah. So how does Ishi though get this crowd to thin out, calm down, go home?
Shout at them. I don't know how else then, as they're like coming towards the pulpit, I'm like shouting at them and like not threatening them, but like get the hell out of here, you guys are gonna get hurt. These people are super dangerous. I don't know. somehow.
Ooh, okay. So maybe you just
kind of make it worse, but in such a way that they just want to go home and get the hell out of here.
all right. So you scare them almost a little bit more about these people, and they to the point where anybody who wasn't absolutely dead on committed to this shrinks back enough where the Thunder Guard can and the deputies can beat up the people that were like absolutely like, yeah, we're totally gonna kill these folks, and everybody else is like, oh shit, and goes home.
There's all the people in the first few rows are covered in arterial blood.
Yeah, exactly. Just comically spraying out of his arm like in Kill Bill. Yeah.
What was the thing that you did?
I chose to use that.
What was the third thing?
Oh, the other two options.
No, the other two options were I could have my squad get hurt, or we could all take face damage because we've caused another riot. Those are my options.
You guys are going to have a meeting, and Taiyo, you're kind of like really down to call this meeting.
I guess, yeah, sure.
Okay.
You don't want
Or
information.
maybe if I go to the magistrates, the civil hall, I guess.
We're all asleep.
Yeah, if no one's there, I'll just send a message to Ishi and just be like, you need to call a meeting immediately. Just as soon as possible. So maybe that could be like a day
meeting
message or something.
Sure. No. I'll call it. If I fucked up, I'll do it.
All right, so we'll say that you guys are going to meet.
No,
guys
Andrew just fucked last time.
You guys are definitely going to meet up like the next day. So, all right, so the pieces you're going to meet up the next day. So that way you've got at least the latter half of the day where you guys came back into the city to rest that night. The next morning you can meet. So that way you've got time to chill out for a little bit. Toan, are you cool with us skipping that scene with Jojo, or would you want to do that?
No, I can skip it.
Okay. So, but here's the deal. I think you go to set that meeting up. You've got that. Taiyo's kind of getting all dressed up. Ribbon is helping Suki become Taiyo as part of like the usual morning ritual. And I think that to a certain extent, probably we've seen this happen several times in the TV show. And at this point now, the process is quicker. I think Suki might be living not more as Taiyo, but like often has more of the accoutrement like of being Taiyo just on and ready, like even at night.
That makes sense.
And so like this process is more brief, and Taiyo maybe does more of it. Suki does more of it herself without ribbon. And what's the last thing that Taiyo usually fastens? Yeah, what's the last thing that Taiyo usually puts on?
I mean, the dramatic thing is put the sword on last week.
Okay. Yeah. We see Taiyo put the sword belt on and whatnot. And we hear like as you're like on your way, one of the messengers says like, "Oh, my lord," not one of the messengers, one of the servants. One of the servants says on your way out, like, "Oh, my lord, something has detained the tutor. He sent this message." And if you open it up, it's a super like common like message where he's like, "Oh, my terrible apologies, but I have some business that I have to attend to. I'll be running late, and I'll be here ever so soon to meet up with basically your kids and Ugray's kids." Yeah, and you look that over at first, and like back of this. You like go to hand it back to the servant, and you notice a message on the back, and it just has two like characters on it, like two kanji on it, and it's just like it just says "careful words."
Should save that. All right. Yeah, then maybe. Taiyo just considers that, and then just goes. Maybe starts heading to this meeting. Maybe like Ample's there, like guarding like somewhere, or just like hanging out.
Yeah, I feel like for him, the deal with Ample is this has been a pretty sweet gig because for the most part he just hangs out at your house. And so it's just like servants bring him food and he eats it and he drinks sake sometimes. He doesn't get too hammered. And then he'll periodically leave to like go party when you don't need him around and then come back and just hang out. So like this for him is a great gig.
Yeah, so Taiyo will just stop and say, your service is no longer needed. Please have your things gone at the end of the shift when I come back.
And he's like, what?
Just keep walking.
Yeah, and he's very like, I don't understand. So we arrive at the magistrate house. There's a few things that are different about everybody. Aji, it probably looks tired, but no different. He still has his sword arm his sword hand is still all messed up. It probably doesn't look like I said, it almost looks frostbitten from when Yugure like burned his hand really badly. So it probably has like the burn marks that you'd see like the burn victim would have, like specifically around his wrist, but then the rest of his hand like doesn't quite move the same way. And we haven't really seen Aji sword fight since that occurred. But yeah, his hand is often, I feel almost like in like a kind of claw-esque shape. And just like that's kind of the natural repose of your hand. Yugure, has Yugure been dressing any differently since his near-death experience? Has he continued to wear the funereal whites? Or now that he's back home, is he in normal Yugure
That
clothes?
was just for a few hours.
Okay.
That's not your new style.
No, I'm back to normal clothes. I'm not a ghost.
So then Ishi also has a change. So his hair is got like streaks of white or gray in it. And I feel Ishi's supposed to be a man in his 40s, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think he, and the funny thing is if this was an actual show, guys would be played by actors who would probably be older but look younger anyway. And so it's that kind of thing where it's like,
well, stop dyeing his hair.
Well, yeah, Ishi, yeah, exactly. It's kind of that, like Ishi has, he's always been older but looked younger. And now he looks maybe
even older.
Like his age, maybe older, yeah. And like specifically his hair is gray, which is a change up.
Dye doesn't exist in this world, does it?
Oh, it definitely does. And the crane who dyed their hair white, their hair isn't naturally white. So it's a dye that they usually utilize. Some lion dyed their hair like a I don't want to say tawny orange, but that might not be right. Like a lion's mane color.
That's real wonky, but okay. I believe you.
So
it's a weird world.
Yeah, because ethnically, almost everybody in Rokugan is of the same exact stock, like ethnically. Like a few groups among the unicorn are different.
Unicorn people.
But it's like, but most of them that you've met in the city, like all the Shinjos, all the Ides, all the Utaku, are all ethnically Rokugani.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the four of you are able to meet up. You're in your meeting room.
Taiyo, thank you so much for taking care of Misaki. She said that you visited her and made sure she stayed safe at home. She went out for buy some things. She's worried and wants to leave the city, but I'm glad that my vision didn't come to pass.
What's your vision again?
This vision
I
with
saw blood.
It was going to be bloodshed.
It was awful, terrible. There was tons of bloodshed.
So is this the first time we're seeing you since we split up?
Is that the case?
For the most part, the first time you guys are talking at any length, certainly. You may have, like, briefly exchanged, like, okay, you're good, all right. And then you guys, I think, needed rest so much.
Yeah.
Plop.
That it was tough, yeah.
We all live in the same
Plus, you were
place.
probably very concerned with, like, being with his family during this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, what, did you just find her? Was everything fine, Taiyo?
There was some difficulty, but I'm glad to hear that she's safe. Taiyo says, like, without inflection.
That's all the way.
Yeah, thank you. Again, it was stressful knowing that my whole family was in peril, and I'm glad to have a trusted friend to look out for my wife.
I did yesterday. Looks like the ninja attacked that dojo of your kinsman.
What? The ninja attacked
Jotomen something?
Kitsuki Jotomen.
Jotomen. Is she okay?
No. Not at all. She's dead. They killed her.
Are you still, like, talking really weird?
Yeah, talking basically like that.
Yeah, I'd probably, like, read him, because it's been real extra.
Toby's dead. You guys should know.
Who gets a experience point when he does? Okay, he does. Oh, I thought you would too. Oh, yeah. All right, so you rolled a 7.
Roll 10.
10.
Not 12, but that's good enough. I guess are you telling the truth?
Well,
About the first
I
bit.
mean, you can do the conversation and then ask him.
Yeah, you can hold the small ones.
Oh, that's true, yeah. The first bit? When you were just like, oh yeah, I'm glad they just... What did you say about Yukari's wife again?
I said there was some difficulty, but I'm glad she's safe, I think. That's how I put it.
Yeah,
That's the truth.
she's not lying. I guess, what are you really feeling?
Oh, there you go. Scared.
Scared?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go.
What's, Taiyo, what's wrong? What's bothering you?
These supernatural elements are... I don't know how to deal with them.
I think we scored a big win the other night.
The big W in our category. How's that, guys?
The Mahotsukai that has been plaguing us and stole my children has been killed. There's still the matter of Suryoku. I saw her with a demon tongue in another vision, and she may still be out there.
Kunira, you warned us that what happened last night did not finish off whatever this supernatural influence of the city. Speaking of Kunira, he's in bad shape. I don't know.
What do you mean? Did something happen after I left?
There was a riot. Aji decided to speak in front of the crowd, and it didn't go very well.
I
apologize.
And there was a riot, and Kunira tried to stop the people from storming the stage, and he lost an arm for his efforts.
I see. This has been a rougher couple of days than I even realized.
Will he be staying in the city then? he'll still be staying in the city, though, right?
I don't know if he'll survive, but as far as I'm aware, yes, he'll still be staying in the city. But there was a lot of blood.
I came to a realization when Kuri Renu said, like, Henjo wasn't, like, the original person. Does that mean when Yugure first got abducted, that wasn't Henjo?
Oh.
With the flying demon?
Yeah, with the big one.
I believe that's what he meant.
So,
Especially because all the people in that cave died that night. All of those cultists are dead.
It could be that whatever was brought forth is
continuing its influence.
right.
I think I'll make one thing. Not all of some of those cultists, I think, got away
Oh, really?
from that night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you guys piece together what Renu had told you from like talking to some of these cultists and figuring the stuff out about Henjo, yeah, that he was one of those people that was there.
Oh, really?
That got away, and that he went from being part of this moon cult, went from being this weird cult about the moon to being a weird cult about the moon that was accidentally practicing Mayho, and that they were in part worshiping that flying creature.
Okay. I just remember killing a bunch of them and then a bunch of them getting eaten.
A bunch of them died. Like most of them died.
They got away. Okay. All right, good correction. So, but I mean, still, Kunirani was adamant that the darkness of the city. These weren't the people behind the water demon. Specifically, he said that to us.
Yeah, he did definitely say that.
So there must be other evil at work here in the city. Did you see any? What aside you spooked about the supernatural elements, Taiyo?
I just don't know how to combat them. So we're constantly in danger. Now the ninjas are back, apparently.
on that note, Yugure, do you remember our discussion with Jitomen? When I discussed about Yoga Osaka?
Why don't you remind us all?
It's fucking fact, remember?
I will. I have a small confession. Yoga Osaka made her. She tried to blackmail me to kill Jitomen.
Jesus. Okay.
Because Jitomen was kind of raising a small army within the city, and she did not want that. I refused, as you can tell, that she's not dead. I have 100% lethal on my duels.
Well, she's dead.
Well, anyone who's dueled me will die. So just because I didn't duel her, that's why she's alive.
Or what's alive?
Well, either way. So I know for a fact that Yoga Osaka wanted Jitomen dead.
Okay.
And apparently the ninja as well.
How did you know it was the ninja?
Some of their bodies were there.
Oh, Jesus, okay. So she took them out on her way down, I guess.
I found a ninja den once, but only because they'd abandoned it. Or perhaps they abandoned it because they knew I was onto them. Either way, they're hard to track.
This is weird.
But certainly tied to... There's some mystery about them. They're certainly tied to things going on.
Jitomen was a highly skilled warrior. It doesn't make sense to me that some ninja would take her down. I mean,
She killed a lot of them.
I'll say that's true.
Interesting. So there were numerous of these bodies that you found there.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. I'm just because he asked, like, were there many of them? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was like, oh, there were a bunch of them dead.
Yeah, there were a few. It seems like her butler was killed too, and they just decapitated her. It's almost as if they twisted her head off.
Jesus.
Odd.
It's very weird.
But these ninja, obviously gruesome.
Has this ever happened with the ninja before? I don't remember them attacking somebody in such a way.
Certainly, they would normally clean up their own messes, one would think. Finding ninja bodies is not a thing that's happened.
It's also true.
Well, apart from the supernatural that we will have to pursue in some way.
In what way?
I hope that the spirits will guide us to an answer. But is there any way? Are there any other leads to follow regarding other things that perhaps the politics of the city? If we could figure out the motivations, we might be able to find right.
It seems like whoever using this, whoever has access to such magic, can write their own rules, their own laws. I don't know how to navigate them.
Taiyo is shook. I said Taiyo is shook.
Maybe we need to have Shugenda of our own. Like, you guys just one man.
You gotta get there. Perhaps we should talk to the Shigenja you made friends with earlier in the year.
I think, speaking of which, one of the servants kind of like quietly knocks at the door in like such a way that you, if you don't want anyone interrupting you, can be ignored.
Okay.
So it's like that happens, and like when you're ready for them to come in, it's like, yeah, like then to tell them.
Should we let them in?
Sure. All I want is to, all I want is to like hold Taiyo back at the end of the meeting pretty much and talk to him one-on-one.
Well, I think that the servant says, like, the servant has a message for. Let me know if this would make sense for it to come to all of you, or if it would make sense to go specifically to you, Branden.
Okay.
So the message is that Asako Kento has been killed. Does that make sense to go to...
Asako Kento was the swordsman?
The Phoenix Shigenja.
The guy with the
Shigenja.
With the archaeology stuff going on in the background.
The old man?
Yeah, but Yugure had dealt with him the most, so would it make sense for this message to go to him? Sure. Or would it make sense to just as like a, hey, heads up, a nearby noble has been murdered. Just heads up to everybody. And I don't know if this is from like the Thunder Guard, or like why they would know that he hangs out with him, but what do you guys think like dramatically would make the most sense?
Speaking of dramatically, I was literally going to say when it's like, oh, we should get these Shigenja and stuff, Taiyo was going to say like, maybe like Asako Kento.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just to Yugure, and the reason is that when I killed his servant, I helped to pay for the funeral.
Okay.
And maybe threw some extra, a little overpaid for the funeral, and maybe he like wrote, like maybe like I'm in his will as like a thank you note
Or some shit, you know.
Ooh, yeah. Like,
There's people
Sure.
else in this world.
yeah, there's probably something like that. But yeah, so you get the message that just says like,
If you're
Yeah,
reading
like-
this, I'm dead.
yeah, like that. Like, I think it's a message that says that like Asako Kinto was murdered, was killed. We think it was sometime like last night, and from what we understand, it was in the midst of a robbery. Like numerous items seem to be gone from his house.
Well, I'm afraid Asako Kinto will not be available. He too has been killed. The motivations are of utmost importance, and I would not be surprised to find the ninjas are responsible for this as well. But more true to their normal selves,
There's no trace.
they left no trace.
How are they able to overcome such a
Old man.
learned Shigenja?
Not all of the Shigenja arts are in dealing with martial combat.
Makes sense.
Do you know where didn't you say he knew where some Naga ruins were?
He has some ruins behind his house.
Some shit right in his house, dog.
I think we should demolish that area.
Damn.
That might be for the best. If for no other reason than that, despite its possible archaeological significance, it seems to be misleading people toward a dark path.
Well, what other Shigenja are left now?
You know that Ide Baranada was a Shigenja.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Kitsu Senshi is a Shigenja.
The old magistrate?
She is an old magistrate. She's not like the old magistrate of the city.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who pushed you to like look into this moon cult as your top priority.
What's your name?
Kitsu Senshi.
You have to devote yourself. Here she is.
Yeah.
And this old guy died.
Yes.
Who's that?
Oh, Lee.
Sako Kinto.
So, but are you guys? Is that something that's on the priority to you to demolish that house or demolish that stuff?
I don't care. Ishi. You don't care at the time. Just not here for it.
I think Yugure will want to go there
Should at least investigate.
and then at least investigate it.
So, I think we have a scene, and this is almost like a montage kind of scene because we got to wrap things up. So this is almost a montage thing of like you looking around. You notice that like parts of some of the ruins are gone. You notice that like a lot of valuables are gone. He was like stabbed to death, like not far from his bed, and you kind of get that. That's the info you get. If you want to make some kind of roll about that, you can. Unless you want to do that just next game. We'll have to remember to do it next game. But
You said some of the ruins were gone?
yeah, some of the items that could be taken away. Like most of the stuff is kind of big. But anything that could be carted off, you'd wager by a single man is gone.
Well, it's just technically a new day, so I should re-roll my spirit, but whatever spirit I have lets me kind of look into the past in some way. Can I get any reading?
Well, we're trying to wrap things up. So, would you want to
Maybe Yugure's eyes light up with an element as the vision begins and the episode ends.
These guys split and you guys stick around to talk? Okay. So we gotta make it quicker.
That makes sense. You could be like, investigate that. You do.
So question one is, how could I get your character to tell me what's wrong? Because you're obviously not telling.
I guess, you're picking up that Taiyo was scared, and if Taiyo feels safe, he would.
And maybe ask, how can I make your character feel safe that time? God damn it. How can I make you feel safe? Maybe two questions of this.
Yeah, I don't know how you would ask that necessarily, but maybe Taiyo's just like, well, if our duties are over here, I think I'm going to go to pray at the temple to air morality. Who's the son lady?
Amaterasu.
Amaterasu. Yeah, maybe that's right. How we.
Because there's a mystical thing you're afraid of?
Yeah, that was what I was trying to imply.
Okay, so
to get rid of the dark supernatural threats, and then Taiyo will feel safe.
Well, tell me about the dark supernatural threats.
Maybe if this could work better. Maybe it's like, I gotta leave, and he just gets up, and you see like at the table or something, he's like holding this paper the whole time. It's just that paper that's like, careful.
Okay, so you're just gonna kind of leave me a hint. So.
Yeah, careful words.
So you just leave me a hint. All right, cool.
Well, that could lead to maybe speaking black now.
City of Lies is Toan as Kakita Aji, Branden as Hida Ishi, David as Bayushi Taiyo, Andrew as Agasha Yugure, and Austin as your Game Master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco. This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice. Hey everybody, if you could please rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcatcher, it would really help This American Dice. And for every 5-star review we receive, we'll read it on air. Join us next week for another episode of This American Dice.
What does that Fox Clan say?
See, I said that, but under my breath because it wasn't nearly good enough to say out loud because it was horrible. Sorry, but it's true.